Hello there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
Georgia's new anti-immigrant law links sheriff's funds to federal immigration checks. Google seeks U.S. immigration law and policy updates to attract global tech talent. Texas activists decry immigration laws harming undocumented workers. The CBP One system risks asylum seekers' safety, a report warns. A new Oklahoma law allows for the arrest of undocumented individuals.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week, right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
in response to the tragic slaying of Laken Riley, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed a controversial immigration law, intensifying the immigration debate. The legislation mandates that sheriff's offices collaborate with federal authorities to identify undocumented immigrants in custody or risk funding cuts. Proponents, like Kemp, argue the law prioritizes public safety by addressing crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. However, critics, including Latino advocacy groups, warn it threatens community trust in law enforcement, essential for effective policing. They fear the law's implementation will extend beyond custody situations, leading to increased racial profiling and civil rights violations. The law also revives the contentious 287G program, which empowers local law enforcement to perform federal immigration duties, and which has been criticized for fostering xenophobia and rights abuses. This enactment has sparked widespread concern among civil rights organizations and immigrant communities about its broader implications.
And next up, for update number 2.
Google has approached the U.S. Department of Labor to request a modernization of immigration policies to better attract global AI and tech talent. The company is pushing for an update to the Schedule A list, which has not been revised in 20 years, to include AI and cybersecurity roles, reflecting the scarcity of domestic talent in these fields. Google's advocacy highlights the challenges U.S. companies face in competing globally due to stringent immigration policies that hinder the hiring of top international talent. The tech giant argues that, without reform, the U.S. risks losing a competitive edge in the global tech industry. This move is part of a broader trend where major tech companies seek to ease immigration constraints to fill critical skills gaps in their workforces. But conservatives in Congress have pushed back against expanding legal immigration pathways.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Activists across Texas mobilized on International Workers' Day to advocate for the rights of 1.5 million undocumented workers, urging Governor Greg Abbott to dismantle SB 4 and end Operation Lone Star, which deploys state troops to the border. These actions, they argue, undermine the state's economy by targeting vital labor forces in industries like construction and agriculture, who contribute significantly through taxes. The legislation SB 4, which has been called one of the harshest anti-immigrant laws in the country, is currently paused by federal courts over constitutional concerns. A recent report emphasizes the rampant issue of wage theft against immigrants, particularly in labor-intensive sectors, highlighting systemic exploitation exacerbated by immigration policy challenges. These protests align with a broader national discourse on the need for comprehensive immigration reform and better protection of immigrant workers' rights.
And moving right along, update number 4.
The U.S. digital metering system at the Mexico border, enforced through the CBP One application, is being criticized for trapping asylum seekers in precarious conditions in Mexico while they wait for limited appointment slots. This system, highlighted in a May 1, 2024 Human Rights Watch report, disproportionately affects migrants without access to smartphones or the internet, increasing their risk of violence and extortion. Technological and linguistic barriers further alienate non-English or non-Spanish speakers. Critics argue that this digital barrier fundamentally undermines U.S. and international legal obligations to protect those fleeing persecution by restricting access to asylum processes, thus exposing vulnerable populations to severe human rights abuses and jeopardizing their safety. The system's implementation contradicts the principles of providing asylum and protection to those most in need.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
Governor Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma signed HB 4156 into law, granting state law enforcement broad powers to arrest undocumented individuals. This measure classifies the first offense of impermissible occupation as a misdemeanor, with penalties increasing for subsequent offenses to felony charges. The bill mandates expulsion from the state within 72 hours of release or conviction. Proponents argue it's a necessary response to illegal activities, including drug and labor trafficking linked to undocumented populations. Critics, including state Democrats, warn it will strain police resources and exacerbate racial profiling issues, threatening the state's social fabric. The governor emphasized that the law targets criminal activities and is not intended to enable racial profiling or discrimination, affirming his commitment to the Hispanic community and equality. Oklahoma is following the lead of Texas and other states in sending a strong anti-immigrant message ahead of elections later this year.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.